What if the one your soul longs for isn't someone you haven't met, but someone you promise to find again? Not in this body, not in this name, but in that space between lifetimes where two lights touched and vowed to remember. You might not recognize them with your eyes, but your soul will stop and whisper, "Now you are." Because true soulmates don't begin in this life, they return through it, like alchemists of the heart, carrying the gold of a love that never forgot itself. What about you? Have you ever met someone who felt familiar beyond explanation? Tell us in the comments. Your soul might not be the only one remembering. Because when they appear, it won't feel like meeting someone new. It will feel like coming home.
Sometimes a soul appears in your life not like a stranger, but like a mirror you forgot you once held. Not a new flame, but an ember reignited. As if your inner fire suddenly remembers its twin. They don't feel unfamiliar. They feel like a symbol, a sign you once carved into the walls of eternity. Their presence unlocks doors you didn't know existed, not in your mind, but in your soul's oldest chambers. It's not love at first sight, it's recognition at first vibration. As if two metals long separated finally resonate in the same divine frequency and alchemy begins. What if that stranger you met is just a reflection of the light you once knew by heart?
There is an ancient law in the language of the stars. Gold is never given to a heart that still worships lead. Before your soul can reunite with its sacred mirror, it must first burn away the illusions that made it forget who it is. The longing you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. Each night alone, each unanswered prayer is the fire melting the false metals of your being until only the essence remains. When the light inside begins to glow without needing another flame, that's when the path opens. And sometimes your soulmate appears not to stay, but to awaken something buried, like a torch lighting your way by disappearing into the dark. What if the emptiness you feared was the sacred space where your soul was being purified?
When two souls who once danced in other worlds meet again, the universe leans in, as if holding its breath. This is not ordinary love. It's not spark. It's a remembering. Like ancient fire relit from a hidden ember. You don't fall, you ignite. Because what awakens is not just affection, but recognition. You feel it in the marrow of your being, a pull, a pause, a presence that bends time. Not for pleasure, but for purification. This love is a furnace. It burns away what is false until the gold of your soul is all that remains. And when that gold shines, so does theirs. What if the real purpose of love is to remind your soul what it looks like without the mask?
Your soulmate is not here to decorate your life. They're here to undress your soul, not to echo your image, but to reflect what you buried beneath the dust of time.
They hold a mirror that no one else can. In it, you see the child you silenced, the fire you dimmed, the vow you made to the stars and then forgot. Sometimes it feels like love, sometimes it feels like war, because the light they reflect shines even on your shadows. But this is sacred. It's not about comfort, it's about clarity. You're not being broken by them, you're being revealed to you. What if the love you seek isn't meant to complete you, but to help you remember the gold that was always there?
Between every pair of destined souls, there is an invisible thread, woven not by hands, but by intention, not made of silk, but of soul. It stretches across time, through forgotten lifetimes and silent mornings. Even when one forgets, the thread remembers. Sometimes you feel it pull, in a dream, a song, a stranger's smile. You turn your head without knowing why, and for a breath, the whole universe feels familiar. This thread doesn't tighten, it calls. It doesn't bind, it reminds. And when the moment arrives, that sacred, impossible moment, you'll both feel it resonate, like a bell that only two hearts can hear. What if every ache of longing was not absence, but a quiet vibration along the golden thread pulling you closer to who you are always meant to find? Some soulmates are written in fire, but burn only for a season. They arrive like comets, bright, breathtaking, and brief. Not every sacred connection is meant to last. Some are here to awaken, not to accompany, to unlock, not to linger, to light the forge and then disappear into the stars. We often confuse presence with purpose, but some souls love you best by leaving, because their exit is part of the initiation, a necessary silence that echoes forever. And that echo, it shapes you, it haunts you gently. It becomes the gold you carry in your chest for every chapter that follows. They don't return to stay. They return to remind you of who you are and of the fire you had forgotten. Could it be that the love that didn't last was never meant to, because its true gift was your awakening, not your comfort? There are moments that pass like shadows and yet leave light behind. A glance, a pause, a breath shared between strangers, and something ancient stirs. No words are spoken, but the soul leans forward, curious. It remembers. Perhaps they walked with you in another realm. Perhaps your hands once built stars together. And now, in this life, they pass you on the street, and everything stands still for just a second too long. The world calls it coincidence, but the soul knows this is not the first meeting. It's the echo of a promise made long ago, felt in the silence where names do not matter. Sometimes the deepest connections are the quietest. They don't demand attention. They bow gently, as if honoring something sacred, unseen by others. What if the strangers you feel most drawn to are not strangers at all, but fragments of your own story, returning in silence?
Not all soulmates walk into your life to stay. Some enter like a breeze through an open window, soft, sudden, gone. But their scent lingers,
Their presence changes the air. Love between souls who remember is not a straight line. It moves in spirals. It separates to deepen. It returns to elevate. And in each cycle, the gold is refined a little more. You may meet, then part. You may lose, then find again. Not because something went wrong, but because something sacred was being shaped. The alchemy of reunion is not about timing. It's about ripeness. Every step apart carves space within you so that love can return fuller, freer, truer. Like the phases of the moon, soulmates wax and wane, but always orbit the same truth. Recognition beyond form. Light that never forgets its source. What if every goodbye between soulmates is just the breath the universe takes before whispering their name back into your life? There are doors in the soul no key can open until love knocks. Not the love of fairy tales, not the love that clings or needs, but the love that remembers. The kind that doesn't ask for permission, it just enters. And when it does, everything hidden begins to stir. Old wounds rise, not to break you, but to be seen. Buried gifts emerge, not to impress, but to serve. You start to feel things you forgot you were capable of feeling. Your breath deepens, your eyes soften, and something ancient begins to bloom. This is what true soulmate love does. It doesn't complete you, it reveals you. Like light moving through a prism, it bends through your being and colors every shadow. It becomes the mirror that says, "Here you are, I never stopped seeing you." And the door, it was always there, waiting for the moment you stopped guarding it and began glowing from it. What if the love you're waiting for is just waiting for you to open that hidden door?
Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and seen a forest that doesn't exist in this world? Or felt the weight of a goodbye you never said to someone you just met? These aren't coincidences. They're echoes, remnants of lives your soul still remembers. Because real soulmate love doesn't begin in this life. It bleeds through from others. You might see visions, a temple, a storm, a night under stars that don't belong to this sky. You might feel emotions too big for the moment, or a longing that has no name. When soulmates find each other again, they open portals, gateways sealed by time, but not by memory. And through these gateways flow memories, feelings, symbols, not as stories, but as truths. You don't just fall in love, you remember how to love across lifetimes. What if déjà vu is not your mind glitching, but your soul remembering where it left off?
The universe doesn't send you your soulmate to make life easier. It sends them to make you remember. Because true soulmate love isn't about comfort, it's about awakening. They arrive not to fit into your world, but to shake it, to stir what was dormant, to burn away the illusions you thought were truth. Their love is a mirror, not a soft one, a sacred one that reflects both your brilliance and your shadows.
not to wound you, but to heal through remembrance. Because in their presence something ancient stirs. The real you, the gold beneath the layers, starts to shine again. And this is the alchemy of the soul. Two flames meeting not to consume, but to illuminate. When you both awaken, you become more than a couple. You become a vibration, a force of light, a prayer the world has been waiting for. What if the soulmate you are seeking is the one your soul chose to evolve with, not to escape, but to transform? And when they appear, whether for a season or a lifetime, you won't need a sign. You'll feel it like a quiet thunder rolling through your bones. Their presence will not feel new, it will feel like a return. As if something deep inside you has been waiting, not for a lover, but for a mirror with memory. You'll speak without words, touch without touching, and in their eyes you'll meet a version of yourself that was always whole. This is not the love that asks for proof. It's the love that feels like breath, like light returning to its source. It won't complete you, it will reveal you. And even if the world doesn't understand it, your soul will. Because this meeting is not a coincidence, it's a remembrance, a golden thread coming full circle, a circle not of possession, but of presence. If something stirred in your heart, it wasn't by chance. It was a memory, a thread pulling softly from beyond time, reminding you of a love that didn't begin here and doesn't end here. Maybe you've met them already. Maybe they appeared in a dream or passed you once in silence, and your soul paused even if your mind didn't know why. Or maybe they're still on their way, drawn not by search, but by the frequency of your remembering. Have you ever felt this kind of recognition? That sudden stillness, that soft knowing? Share your experience in the comments. Someone else may recognize their own reflection in your words. Because soulmates don't just find each other, they awaken each other. And sometimes one remembrance is enough to ignite 1,000 lights. If this message touched something sacred within you, like, share, and subscribe to stay close to this journey. Together, let's keep the fire of remembrance alive and follow the golden thread all the way home.